Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the culinary science and those fiercely guarded hidden techniques behind making authentic, restaurant-quality butter chicken right in your very own kitchen. I'm so thrilled you're here because honestly, we're going to completely change how you look at this iconic Indian dish. So, let's be real for a second. If your homemade butter chicken often comes out, a little too sweet, maybe kind of heavy, and it just always seems to lack that complex restaurant depth, well, what if I told you the version you've been making is literally nowhere close to what it can actually taste like? After digging through some deeply traditional culinary sources and uncovering an actual 40-year-old family secret recipe, I can tell you that restaurant magic, it's not out of your reach. It absolutely all comes down to technique.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're breaking this iconic dish down into 4 foundational pillars: the double marinade, the makhani mother sauce, the tandoor char hack, and finally, the dungar method. But hey, before we start cooking, we really have to understand the foundation here. The term makhani comes from the Punjabi and Hindi word makhan, which quite simply means butter or buttery. Right away, that sets our expectation. We are building a rich, deeply savory Indian mother sauce where butter isn't just an ingredient you toss in, it's the absolute soul of the flavor profile.
All right, moving on to Section 1, the double marinade. Now, this double marinade process is exactly what separates a standard home-cooked butter chicken from a total masterpiece. Notice the two-step chemistry happening here. We don't just dump everything into a bowl at once. Step 1 is coating the chicken strictly in freshly ground ginger garlic paste, salt, and lemon juice. The acid from that lemon actively breaks down the muscle fibers from the inside out, while the salt pulls all that moisture in. Then, and only after letting it rest, do we add the second layer. That's your hung curd, deep red Kashmiri chili powder for that gorgeous vibrant color, and your spices. This double layering tenderizes the meat deeply while locking the external coating perfectly in place.
And right during that second marinade comes our first massive secret. You need to add 1.5 tablespoons of roasted chana dal powder. Most internet recipes completely miss this. This powder basically acts as a natural binding agent. So, when your chicken finally hits that screaming hot pan, the masala doesn't just slide off into a sad, watery mess. No, it clings to the meat, creating a really beautiful, thick crust.
Which brings us to Section 2, the makhani mother sauce.
So this gravy is an incredibly versatile base. You can use it for dishes like dal makhani or really rich mushroom curries. But to actually master it, you've got to avoid a massive trap that home cooks fall into. A lot of people think, hey, adding tons of cashews will make the gravy richer and way more luxurious, right? Wrong. Using something like 30 cashews actually completely overpowers the bright tomatoes. It creates this heavy, thick paste instead of a sauce. The restaurant's secret is subtle body, not total dominance.
The absolute maximum number of cashews you should use for a base of 5 large tomatoes is exactly 12. Yep, just 12. Literally count them out. It provides just enough creaminess to emulsify the sauce without killing that authentic, vibrant taste of the tomatoes. To build on that flavor, we've got an incredible 40-year-old family secret straight from our sources. Try adding a handful of fresh coriander stems, and I mean specifically the stems, not the leaves, directly into the boiling gravy right along with your onions and tomatoes. As they cook down, they release this intense, earthy, super fresh aroma that the delicate leaves just cannot provide. It's that hidden background note that makes people stop mid-bite and ask, wait, what exactly is in this? After your base is cooked, cooled, blended smoothly, and this is absolutely non-negotiable, strain through a fine mesh to get that silky, expensive restaurant texture, you reach the final seasoning. You must add exactly 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now, I know some people fight this, thinking it turns the dish into a dessert. But basic flavor science tells us this is purely to balance the sharp, natural acidity of the tomatoes. It rounds out the flavors. It doesn't actually make it sweet.
Moving right along to Section 3, the tandoor char hack.
Okay, so the legendary butter chicken that was invented in Delhi was originally made using leftover smoky tandoori chicken. That charred clay oven flavor baked right into the meat is what made the dish famous in the first place. Now, since most of us don't exactly have massive traditional clay ovens sitting in our kitchens, we have to engineer that flavor. First, you sear your marinated chicken in a pan and you leave it totally undisturbed for 2 minutes so that chana dal binding agent can form a crust. You only want to cook the meat to about 60 to 70% done. Then you use a brilliant hack. Grab a wire mesh or a jolly and place the chicken directly on it, right over your open gas flame.
By letting that direct fire kiss the surface of the chicken for just 50 to 60 seconds max, you blister the outside. You create that caramelized, smoky, dark-spotted crust that you probably thought was only possible to get in a commercial kitchen. It is an absolute game changer for flavor.
And finally, Section 4, the Dungar method.
So this is an age-old Indian smoking technique that was famously utilized by the Nawabs of Lucknow to perfume their royal dishes. Even after you've folded your perfectly charred chicken into that strained, glossy, buttery makhani gravy, this final step still remains. It's a quick 3 to 7 minute smoking process, but it adds this mesmerizing, extraordinary, deep aromatic layer to the dish that honestly elevates it from great to absolutely unforgettable.
And the technique itself is beautifully simple. You just take a small piece of natural charcoal and heat it over a flame until it is literally red hot. Then, place that hot coal into a small metal bowl, or even just a hollowed-out piece of onion, and rest it right on top of your finished, cooked dish inside the pot. Pour a spoonful of ghee directly over the hot coal, and the second it starts billowing smoke, you immediately clamp the lid down tight to trap all of it inside.
Now, a super quick but absolutely crucial safety reminder straight from our culinary sources: always ensure your kitchen is well ventilated. Turn your extractor fan on high unless you want to invite the fire department to dinner. And strictly use 100% natural lump charcoal. You want zero chemical additives or lighter fluids here, because this smoke is directly flavoring the food you're about to eat.
What's really fantastic about the makhani mother sauce we built back in Step 2 is its shelf life. If you decide to make this beautiful, strained tomato base in bulk, it stores perfectly. You can keep it in the fridge for 3 to 5 days, or even freeze it for 2 to 3 months. The only real rule: leave the fresh cream out of the batch you plan to freeze, and just stir it in fresh when you reheat it to serve.
Okay, so to summarize our culinary journey today, here is your blueprint for perfection. Bind your double marinade with roasted chana dal so it actually sticks. Respect the 12 cashew limit so the tomatoes can shine. Use those coriander stems for deep earthiness. Always strain your gravy for that premium silkiness. Char your chicken over a wire mesh, and finish the whole thing off with the magical Royal Dungar smoke.
You now possess the hidden, foundational secrets to creating the ultimate buttery makhani experience right at home. Sure, it's a lot of technique, but the reward is a dish that will absolutely blow your guests away. So, I'll leave you with this thought. Once you have a batch of this flawless mother sauce sitting in your fridge, what kind of incredible, boundary-pushing fusion dishes are you going to create with your leftovers? Think about it, get into the kitchen, and start cooking.